So I've just begun the recording. Welcome everyone. Today is March 13th, and this is a community edition setup session. This is a very special one. We have Alex Griggs joining us to help walk through how he sets up community edition using an abstraction called a Helm chart, which Alex designed himself. Alex is one of the community edition documentation awardees that Hub's over the last couple of weeks had helping out document a different way of hosting community edition, and Alex showed how to do it in different ways on both GCP and AWS, and has contributed a ton of just knowledge to the community in the Discord as well. So I'm sure many of you have seen uh, his uh, his questions and answers in there. I do also want to, Alex, I was also going to plug virtual link hosting. In this session, we'll walk through um, Alex's open source Helm chart that anyone can use to set up a community edition instance. But if you'd prefer not to have the hassle, Alex also has a service for setting up community edition instances, which I encourage everyone to consider as one of the options if you're looking for a third party to set up a community edition instance.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Yeah, so actually, Corey and I are working on virtual link hosting,
Oh, cool.
and it's we're hopefully going to be launching in the next couple of days here with free packages, personal and professional. We're matching all the Hub stuff, and adding back in all the Hub's cloud features that are missing. But that's not a part of what we're doing today. What we're doing today is we're going to install the Helm chart and get a Hub's instance set up on Google Cloud Platform. So I'm going to just share my screen. I think this is the right one. Yep, I think we're good. Oh,
And Alex, what I found for kind of the format of this, and sorry for the interruption,
nope, no worries.
I'm recording my screen for people who are watching this on YouTube later.
Okay.
And it's much crisper, recording OBS through my screen. So I was planning to step through the steps of setting up an instance on my side.
Oh,
So I
sure.
don't know if you want to direct me or if I'll just follow along as you're sharing your screen.
Doesn't matter to me, Michael. However you want to do it. If you
I'm
want
free
to
either way.
just if you want to just do it yourself, like then we don't have to worry about the like messing up all the screen resolutions and all that. Or,
Yeah.
no problem there.
Well, I've have this screen set up here, but also Alex, feel free to set up your screen and I'll focus on it whenever you want to demonstrate something. Alrighty. Could you hear me okay, Alex, or did I get too
Yeah,
quiet?
yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
cool. Um, so Alex, today I was thinking of stepping through your guide of deploying a personal Helm chart on GCP, so the
Okay.
personal edition of your community edition Helm chart. Um, for folks that are interested, there is the guide that Alex wrote. Um, is there anywhere else documentation that they should be looking at? I guess also for those who are.
So yeah, the Helm chart itself does have some documentation that I've written, but the article is a deeper dive into that documentation. So most of the information is in the documentation, but I would recommend reading the article to actually understand the documentation that I've written here.
Yeah. Um, so this might also be useful context for anyone who's watching the YouTube stream and encountering this for the first time. Um, Hub's Community Edition lives in the Hub's Cloud GitHub that is owned and operated by Mozilla. Here's the link to that if anyone's brand new. And then Alex has set up the Helm chart in his own repo in the Hub's community organization, which I understand is an organization that you've set up. It's not, owned or
Yeah,
operated by Mozilla.
right.
Um,
It's meant to be a community dumping ground for code for hubs.
cool.
So if anybody wants to be a part of that, just send me a DM with your GitHub username, and I can add you as a member, and then you'll be able to create repos and put code up there.
Awesome. Um, I think we link out to a number of repos. I think I know Chris from Maytabi contributed the importing assets repo in there. I know, yeah, Stan added the scaling support. So it's not just the Helm chart, it's also a couple of others. But today we're focused on the
Right.
Helm chart, of course. Awesome. Um, and maybe, Alex, I don't, is there a way you want to approach it? What I would ask is kind of if you want to give an intro to what is Helm, and why we
Yeah,
should use
for
it
sure.
rather than using vanilla community edition.
Yeah, so Helm is a templating engine that uses Go templating to scaffold out Kubernetes YAML files. So instead of running a bash script, you're actually running a Helm command, which then creates the YAML for you based on the templates that you have in your chart. So if Michael, if you look at the code, you'll see there's actually a chart folder at the top
Hmm.
there. And you'll see each service in the Helm system has its own chart, and the main chart is actually the hub's client. So when you run it, all of these services are installed for you, and all of the configuration gets automatically generated for you. Other than obviously the hub's configs, those are run from the script that we have in the main root directory. Is that it? Anything else you want me to explain there, Michael?
I guess this relationship between charts and templates, you do a great job of laying it out in here as well, but can you talk a little bit about templates too?
Yeah, so it like the templates are the base of the YAML file, which is if like let's open up the deployment there, Michael.
Hmm.
uh, or any of them, it doesn't really matter. So as you can see, we have some include, and these are actually helper functions that are within the underscore helper.tpl file. And they will actually generate chunks of YAML for you. So there's a lot of like you can see there's a lot of boilerplate here, and when you run a Helm create to create a chart, it scaffolds all these files for you. So like there's some in here that I've created myself, like obviously like the config dash secret YAML, that's one that I created for us specifically. But like the deployment, the ingress, the HPA, it all came from the initial chart build, like or creation when I created it. So it gives us a really nice, easy way to scaffold hubs and keep the configs separate from each other. So basically, like another big part of Helm is that when you install it, it's namespace agnostic. So it will always install in the namespace you tell it to go into. So instead of having to go in and actually tell the templates where to install, you just tell Helm, install it in HCCE, the namespace, and it will install it right then and there. So the difference between a template and a chart is the templates are what the chart uses to install the service. So the like this whole folder that you're looking at right now, this root directory, is actually a Helm chart.
Gotcha.
And then inside we have subcharts. So everything in that chart folder is technically a subchart to the main chart.
Gotcha. And I think it will be apparent for when we actually get the deployment going. But I think I've set up my own instance on AWS of Alex's Helm chart, and when you talk about the benefits of doing it in your document, you talk about ease of use, customization, flexibility, consistency, and reliability.
Yep.
Um, for anyone who's familiar with just deploying a vanilla Hubs Cloud instance, you know that sometimes it's very buggy. Sometimes just even in the deployment part of it, you do a lot of manual entry, and then it like has to render out this huge YAML file. So, Alex, I think you'll demonstrate once we have our cluster up and running. But what should people be on the lookout for, kind of seeing the benefits of the Helm chart when they're actually in the Helm environment?
Yeah. So like a lot of it becomes the ability to deploy the same templates in different namespaces, which gives you the ability to have, say, a dev, staging, and a production instance.
Hmm.
So it will allow you to keep your templating files up to date across all of your instances. Instead of having to use the hcce.yaml file and then recreate that to do it again, when you run a Helm install or a Helm upgrade, Helm does that for you. It creates all of those templates and all of that all of those files for you, and then installs it. So when we get to that point, if we add a dash dash debug to the Helm install command, it will actually spit out all of the YAML that we're going to be installing onto the Helm, like onto the Kubernetes cluster. So
Gotcha.
that's
Let's
one
make sure
benefit.
to hit that when we get
Yeah,
there.
but there is quite a few benefits to Helm. But the biggest one is just being able to use a template and be able to reproduce it across any Kubernetes cluster, and it should be identically installed.
I think also this isn't necessarily unique to Helm, but in Alex's setup, he's already added features for persistent volume claims, for persistent volumes, and also for easier integration with an external database. So that's one of the main kind of features that's missing out of the box when you set up a vanilla uh, community edition instance. And once again, it's not specific to Helm necessarily, but Alex's repo here does come with a lot of those key features that I know a lot of folks are interested in.
So when I designed and built this Helm chart, I was looking to have an easy way to get a production instance set up without having to mess around with configs or any of that kind of stuff. Um, so it should allow for a simpler deploy to Kubernetes, but it will also in the future allow you to extend it and make it a lot more powerful.
Mhm. Alrighty. Um, I'm ready to dive in if you are.
Yeah, let's set up a cluster.
Cool. So disclaimer, in terms of prerequisites, I already have Helm installed. I already have my Google Google command line interface set up. So that we won't cover that here, but that can add a significant amount of time as you're setting things up. Is just getting your dev environment with whatever your chosen platform is set up. But I already have that set up, and we're using some kind of Mozilla level accounts for that. But I guess where should we begin? I guess just from creating a cluster, right?
Yeah, we just need to run
Okay.
that first create a cluster. Make sure that you attach the little note there. We're gonna just need to add we want to turn on the or GCP file store CSI driver. It's in the little note underneath the command there. I can send it to you if you
Yes,
want
I
me to.
see it here. So I'll type it in, and please let me know, folks, if you're having trouble seeing here. But I just have a VS Code terminal open. I'm working within this March 13th directory. I'm mainly saying this for the people who will be watching and following along later. But here's our command: gcloud container clusters create, and then the name of our cluster. How about let's call it HCCE Helm March 13th. Why not? Um, Machine type, my when I deploy Alex, it comes standard with a couple of them. Um, what for people who aren't familiar, what is N1 standard to? Is that a pretty small machine type, or is it a larger one?
I believe it's two CPUs and 4 gigs of RAM or eight
Okay,
gigs RAM. I can't remember exactly.
I think I might be able
Um,
to follow it, but
I can probably pull it up pretty quickly.
it's all good.
So it is The N1 standard dash 2 is two CPUs, two vCPUs, and then 7.5 gigs of RAM
Gotcha.
with 128 gigs of persistent disk
Gotcha.
or max persistent. So I think that was partly just because of the number of pods per instance that you can have on Google. But I know Google is way better than AWS for that.
Mhm.
Their smallest instance can have like 110 pods, whereas Amazon is like 17 on their smallest one.
Mhm. Now, when I typically create, I think for the account that I'm using, Mozilla has a default of 3 nodes, and I think our default pool is like M3 medium or the machine types. But I'm going to try and follow yours, and if we run into any issues, we can do it there. I'm going to do US South 1A, which is closest to me geographically, and then add-ons. We're doing dash dash add-ons equals GCP file store CSI driver. All right, looks good. I'm gonna run it, and then we're gonna wait for like 10 minutes while this gets spun up.
Michael, just one note. I
Yeah,
picked the N1 standard 2 because it was the closest thing to a default Hubs Cloud install. That's why I picked it.
gotcha. And it
Because
looks like
the
it's having trouble finding that resource in my region. So let's actually look at the regions uh, to make sure I'm picking a region where that's available. Um, that's the wrong doc. Um, Folks, the reason that failed is because certain regions only have certain devices supported. Let's see. So
I would just try the E2 type because that should be across everywhere.
I think if I just don't specify it or the number of nodes,
That's
it should go ahead and autofill that for us. I'm just gonna take all of that out. So folks who are watching on the stream definitely do specify. However, I'm choosing not to just because for time saving. Okay, looks good, and we'll take about 10 minutes to get set up. Um, Maybe we can go ahead and
I,
go ahead.
I was going to say we should set up the file store and the cloud SQL.
Let's do it. Would we be able to do it just from the command line?
I can, um, yeah, here, give me a second.
Sorry, I just don't want to share our interface if possible.
Yeah, no, 100%.
While Alex is looking at that, any questions so far? Can people still hear us?
Yep, all good for hearing.
Okay, just making sure.
Thanks.
I'm gonna take a quick sip of water. And Alex, if it's too many steps to kind of figure out the command line commands, I'm happy to describe what is happening. Or if you want to share your screen, I can stop
I,
sharing my screen and.
I have them. I'm just about to send them to you on Discord. Just give me
Oh,
a second.
gotcha, gotcha. Thank you. Let's check in on my progress on my. Oh, there we go. Okay. Uh, so I see the commands that Alex has sent me. I'm gonna kind of type these out. Gcloud SQL users create user. Is that my username or?
So that will be the user you want Rhett to connect to, or PG Bouncer.
Gotcha. What's standard there? Just
Rhett.
yeah, right. Dash dash instance equals
Whatever you want to call it, whatever
yeah,
the instance.
not retdb. This is the SQL instance, right?
Yeah, should be.
Um,
Actually, wait, this is gonna be creating a user on an instance that doesn't exist yet. Give me a second. I need to find
gotcha.
that
I was kind
first
of,
command.
I was like,
I was
these
con
look
I
like
was
database. If you want to share your screen, I'm also happy to follow along.
yeah, I'll just share my screen and I will jump through this because I have a brand new account that I set up today. So if someone wants to grab that screen and move it around for me.
I gotcha. 1 moment. So, folks, the reason we're doing so many workarounds is I just don't want to share my any sensitive Mozilla credentials by sharing my screen. But I'm sure Alex has kind of done this. He's probably set up a environment where it's fine if he shares his screen. So I'm going to follow along separately if I can get this screen share lined up. I'm going to follow along separately on a screen on my device where people can't see, and I'm very sorry for this. Okay, I think I've gotten it decently.
Okay, can you guys see my mouse and everything?
Mhm.
Yep, I can.
Okay, cool. So yeah, basically the easiest way to get here is just go to the search bar, type in Cloud SQL. It'll bring you to the Cloud SQL page. We want to pick Postgres SQL.
So in mine, I
Of
see
course,
create instance, and I'm going to click create instance. I'm going to choose
and
Postgres.
yeah,
Can you hear me,
and
Alex?
then we're gonna name this Hubs instance. So we'll just
Sorry, Alex,
go.
I interrupted you. I'm just stepping through on my side, going a little bit slower.
Oh,
So when I got
yeah,
there, I had to click create instance, choose Postgres SQL, and now we're on instance ID, right?
yeah. I had to activate my Cloud SQL as well
Gotcha.
because I have a new account. So we're just gonna generate a new password. We're gonna make sure that we're using Postgres SQL version 12 because
What
that is
did
the
you
version that Hubs uses.
what did you call your hubs or your instance ID?
It's just Hubs-CE.
Hubs dash C. I'm gonna call mine Helm March 13th. Generate a
Okay.
password, select Postgres 15 or Postgres 12.
And this password is going to be the master password or root password for your Hubs or for your Cloud SQL instance. I would not use this for your Hubs install because that will give Rhett full control of this instance.
Gotcha.
And that's why we're going to run the gcloud commands to add a user and add a database.
Will we need it
Um,
for anything? Uh, Probably not.
this password for now, no, we don't
Yeah.
need it. Um, and then to make this a little bit cheaper, I would select the enterprise version. I don't know if you noticed, but it's going from $2.20 an hour down to $1.20 an hour. Yes, this is expensive, but this is a production instance. So if you want to actually change that, you can come in here and let's just like select a sandbox. And now we're down to like 14 cents an
14
hour.
cents. Yeah.
And single zone, multi-zone, You can also configure the machine type. So if you only want like a really small instance, I would drop it down to here. So you're only paying like $2 a day for the database to be running.
Hmm.
And then you can obviously configure storage, any of these extra things here. You can add them, add whatever you need to. I would just leave it for like default if it's your first time installing it, because changing some of this stuff can mess you up. But one big thing that we need to make sure we click is we need the private IP. If we do not associate this with a network, uh, Google Cloud Platform, or sorry, Kubernetes engine will not be able to connect to it, because it doesn't want to go out to the internet and then come back and accept it. So we need to go through a private network. So we're just going to set that up here quickly, where you enable the service networking API. And then once this is
Sorry,
enabled,
just to go a little bit slower. So
yeah,
I've
sorry.
enabled the service network API, and you selected this from default, and it gave you that setup connection pop up, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
it's just underneath you select the private IP, and then then you just select default network. You could also create a new network here, but that's gonna be outside of the scope of this walkthrough. Click setup connection, enable the API. Now we need to make sure that we select the automatic allocated IP range from Google. You could add your own, but it makes the networking extremely complicated. So would recommend against it. So we just click continue, and then we'll create this connection. And then once the connection is once the service network API has the default private IP ranges set up, this will finish up, and then we can create our instance and move forward. This can take some time. It can take
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Let's see where my okay, so my cluster has spun up completely. Um, but uh, should we wait for this to finish?
Well, we're not going to use mine, so if yours is spun up, then
It has
it
not.
should.
So
Okay.
my cluster has spun up, but the connection has not.
Right, right. Okay. So we just need to wait for a few minutes then for that to come up. While we're waiting for that, Michael, if you want to
Yep.
jump into file store, we can set up the instance. Oops.
Uh, yes, let's do it. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna open a new tab. I'm just describing what's happening, but I'm gonna go to just open up a new Google Cloud tab. Oh, sorry. Actually, it looked like the connection finished.
Yeah, mine just did too. So
Okay. Um, should we finish clicking create instance on this
yeah,
DB?
it's gonna take a minute to create anyways, so we might as
Okay.
well create it now.
Okay, I'm gonna click create instance. I think I can show this, but um, yeah, I'm just gonna click create instance, and y'all can't see my screen, but the people on the YouTube can. I'm gonna click create instance after my connection has been made, and now it's spinning up. Okay, so I'm gonna go to file store, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in file store, and I need to create an instance there, right?
Right.
So I see a big blue button with a plus icon. I'm going to click create instance, instance ID. I'm going to type HCCE Helm March 13th, and then I'll do dash FS for file store. What's next? Basic
And
instead of
definitely
enterprise?
definitely make it basic, and then make it HDD. As you can see, the price went from like $500 a month down to 160.
Hmm.
Um, the these volumes, the minimum you can provision is a terabyte.
Mm.
There is, I believe, you can use a another type of persistent disk on Google. But when I did the persistent volume stuff, I built it originally for Amazon, and
Gotcha.
their version only works on this the same kind of same kind of setup, which is an NFS server for file storage, and that's because we need read write many for RET and Postgres to have multiple pods to connect to the same data.
Gotcha. What's next? Where to next?
So once you've created this, we just need to
Do we need a
jump back in.
network or
Uh, no, you should be good as long. Oh yeah, I guess you wanted the default network.
yeah,
Select the default, and
default
then
file share name. Oh, sorry. Keep walking
yeah.
me through.
No, so you want your instance ID. You need to fill that out, and then we need to name our file share. Or yeah. So these can be the same name, but at the same time, you might want to name them something like slightly different, just because in the config it can get kind of confusing. Um, so I would call this like hubs CE for the instance name, and then we're going to allocate just 1 terabyte. I'm in US Central right now.
Mhm.
Make sure that you have the automatic IPs allocated, and then just leave everything else default. And then we'll need a share name. So I'm just going to call it hubs. There's some other advanced options like changing the encryption, but you don't need to do that right now. And then once you've gotten those 2 fields filled in, click create and it should spin it up.
Sorry, the access control you're just keeping as grant access to all clients, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Like you can do IP ranges, but because we're dynamic or automatically allocating IPs, it can get a little complicated. You need to set up an IP range, and it's not worth setting up right now.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay. I have clicked create and it is creating. It looks like my Postgres instance was created. Let's go back to my SQL. Here's SQL. Oh, it's still being updated. It's still coming online.
yeah, I can take a couple minutes to spin up.
Mhm. Okay. And I might go back. Oh, your screen share has disappeared. I might go
Also,
back to sharing my screen as well, and I'll just be a
yeah,
little bit careful about when and where I'm sharing. But that should be everything we have to create, right?
on the console side, yes, that
Yeah.
is.
Okay. So everything else
We
should be
need to
command
create the
line.
users now, but
Cool. So my screen is back up. Yeah. Once again, I've got my cluster running. Should I go ahead and maybe I should go ahead and just copy your repo, right?
yeah.
Where's the URL? Oh, I have a tab open with it. So I'm just gonna clone Alex's repo into my directory by just doing git clone. Oop, not that. Git clone. Populate. Oop. Are folks still there? It feels eerily quiet.
Yeah, no, I'm still here.
Still here.
Thank you. So, Alex, very simple kind of beginner question, but can you explain the difference between the resource that we've created in SQL versus the resource we've created in file store?
Yeah. So in SQL, we've created a database instance, and on the file store side, we've created a volume. You can think of the file store as just a hard drive that you can create directories in, and each directory has a maximum amount of size that it can use, up to your provisioned amount. And with file store, you can save like petabytes of data. With SQL, we are only able to save about 10 gigs and at this current setup. And it's restricted based on instance size.
Gotcha.
We could probably start configuring the bash script if you want, Michael.
Let's do it. So this is in renderhelm.sh, correct? Or should we start with
Yeah.
the values gcp.yaml?
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to create a copy of it. But that's only gonna be used after we run uh, the render file, because this creates the YAML that we need to be able to actually continue.
Okay.
So first things first is if you go up to the top there, Michael, right at the top of the page, or I guess just down a little bit where you see hubs domain. So what we're doing here is this bash script, you actually pass the domain you want to run and the email directly to the script, and then it will inject it into the places that it's needed. And you'll see that going down a little bit further. We actually have a Helm templating. It's a variable which allows you to call the hub's domain anywhere within the Helm chart, which is how I was able to allow each service to get the same domain, and we'll see it as we move forward, but it makes it very simple where we don't need to go replacing things. Helm just does it for us. So first thing first, Michael, we're probably going to want to change that. Well, we could probably just create the Postgres user with that password.
Sure.
But obviously when you're building this for production, change that username and change that password to something secure.
Mm-hmm. This isn't secure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is not secure.
I use that at my bank.
It's a rhetorical question. It did not garner any laughs at all. Okay.
Sort of, maybe.
Well, glad to know there was a chuckle from Imaginer.
There's a muted chuckle.
Great. Let's move
Yeah.
on so I don't have to wallow in my failed joke any longer.
So yeah, next we need to set up the SMTP server, your username and your password.
Gotcha.
Depending on, go ahead, Michael.
Just for the sake of the documentation, I will walk through that annoying process here. So I'm using AWS. I know Alex used Gmail. Sometimes I know a lot of folks use Elastic Email. Port 587. I've gone to Amazon SES SMTP settings. I'm going to grab my SMTP endpoint. Also important to note that you must be outside of the AWS sandbox if you want to send emails to non-verified users. So you have to have this if you want regular users to be able to sign into your hub. You have to be out of the email sandbox. But anyway, I'm going to grab my endpoint, come back here, and that goes into SMTP server. Port, you've already autofilled as 587. And then I'm going to create a new credential. Let's call this HCCE Helm March 13th. No tags, just need send raw email, create user. And then I'm going to grab these. So I'll grab my user. And I'm also deleting this credential after the fact, so I might as well just copy and paste the credential in here. Don't don't try to use it, but if you do, it will not work. Okay. So you can also download the CSV file. That's the best practice for today. Since I'm deleting this credential, we will just not do that. So that's very quick SES setup. I should also say for our DNS, I'm just going to use the same Route 53 uh, devmoran.com that I've used in the past. So, but we're not to that point
Yeah,
yet.
that'll make that easy. Just
Yeah.
replacing the IP there.
Mhm.
So next thing, we need to create a random node ID. So a UUID or any random string can be there.
Yeah, did you have any suggestions for that in your doc of like randomly
I
generating?
don't, but just yeah, anything as long as it's unique can be there. And same with Guardian and same with Phoenix. If you're doing an import, make sure your Phoenix key comes from Hub's cloud. Otherwise, you will have no encrypted data. It will all disappear on you.
Good point. So yeah, if you're migrating your database manually, you'll want it to have that same credential as your old instance. Does anyone have questions about that? Data migration is a big, I know a lot of people might.
Maybe good to mention where you can find that Phoenix key in your cloud instance. If you're not sure everybody knows.
Yeah, so that's in the parameter store in your Hub's in the account where your Hub's cloud instance lives. And if you just search for Phoenix key, you should find it.
Mm-hmm. I forgot the, do I have it here? Anyway, I was going to drop the string that you should actually look for, and you can use the Resource Explorer to find it somewhere, but it's like Phoenix key in camel case, I think, but other folks can point you in that direction. Okay, get out of here. Come on, so we're not configuring Sketchfab or Tenor API today. How are our database and file store? So my database is up. My file store is not up yet.
This is why I tend to do them in parallel because they do
Mhm.
take some time to get up and running.
Sure, sure. I actually don't even see one like in the process of being spun up. That's strange. I pressed the create
It's weird.
button. I'm
Are you in the right project?
Yes, I am. Well, good question actually. That would be annoying if I were not. Yeah, I'm in the right project. Hmm. I might quickly create it again. Just I'll go back and clean things up. But HCCE Helm March 13th. I can share this. So I had trouble finding my resource, but I'll go ahead and create a new one. FS. Gonna go to basic. Gonna go to HDD to cut down on costs as much as possible. US1, Central 1 is fine. The default VPC. What else? File share name, HCCE, hubs, Helm, March 13th. And then access control, I think I have gotten everything. So I'll go ahead and create and hopefully well, I see
Looks like
there
you have one in
is,
the corner there, yeah.
yeah, it actually is coming up. Let me explore a little
Try
bit deeper.
yeah, try opening that, see what it's saying.
So this one brought me here, which looks like my
Yeah, we're
That's
up. That's what you want.
oh,
That's
okay.
exactly what you
Never
want.
mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess it has come up. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's the next step in the values file. So
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Let's go back here. Okay, Alex. So just to recap, we filled out render helm.sh. Is the next step to go into
Yeah, so
values.gcp?
the next step is actually to run that Helm chart or the render underscore Helm.
Gotcha. And what is the command for that again? Just bash. Oh, here we go.
Yeah. So
and we don't need to configure the YAML? Oh, okay.
so right now, like the YAML, what we're creating is going to go into that YAML. So
Gotcha.
it doesn't actually matter which YAML we use. We can just replace the one that's the GCP one. Like we can update that and then install from there.
Gotcha. So I'm going to type bash render helm.sh, and then the domain that I want is devmoran.com, and then mmorran@mozilla.com.
You're not in the right folder. You got to go one more down. You got to jump into the Helm chart.
Sorry.
There we go.
Okay. So we got a lot of PEM files, a new config.yaml file. Yep.
Yep. So let's open up that config.yaml. So that this is all of the settings that will be going into the config for the entire system. So we need to copy that into the values file that we're going to be using to install.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see values.yaml in a Helm chart, that is the default install. So if you just type in Helm install, it will use that base file. If we do a Helm install -f and then point it to a file, it will overwrite anything in that base file with what we're looking at. So, and it always follows the furthest right file. So if you put 4 files there, the last one on the right is what's going to be the top, like the source of truth. So
Gotcha. So
This for what? Wait, which furthest on the right?
the file in the Helm install. So you'll see it in a minute, imagine, when we actually go to install the chart. We'll explain it. So Michael, what I would recommend doing right now is instead of copying that the GCP YAML, let's just edit that one directly.
okay.
When you're building a system for yourself, I would recommend copying this file because then you have a baseline that you can always look back to. But then again, it's also on GitHub, so you don't have to do that. So yeah, we need to replace those files that you just saw.
So I'm going to, I guess I can just copy everything in here. So let's copy from configs all the way down through here. And then if I go back to values.gcp, since we're on GCP, I should be able to, I should actually copy from db user. So taking that back, I'm going to copy from db user down to the bottom here. And values.gcp, I'm going to replace starting at db user. I might need that information here, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so
if
once
you
more, I'll do. Oh,
sorry,
ahead,
I just want to say this. If you are copying the YAML file, you can add just the 2 lines there. You do not need to add the enabled or anything else because the original file will put that into your copy. So
okay.
yeah, that's another benefit to Helm and why having different configs are so nice, because you can just overwrite it with the next file. You don't need the dashes either, by the way.
I'll get rid of those down here.
Yep. And just make sure that stuff lines up correctly. Mm-hmm. Now we can save that file, but we are going to have to go up to the top.
For our file store?
And Yeah, but we're going to do the hubs domain first. So as you can see, whenever you see in a Helm template, the amperand and then hubs underscore domain, that is a function that allows you to, it's defining that as a variable. So in the actual chart. So when we keep going, if you scroll down a little bit, somewhere in here, you will, yeah, right there. So when you see the wildcard plus the name, that's actually going to print the name from above in that spot. So you could use that in hundreds of places, and it will always be the same value.
And so I've just replaced those brackets with my values.
Yeah. So when we run the Helm chart, it will actually go in and replace all of those hubs underscore domain with devmirand.com.
Cool.
Okay, so the file share. This is what we need to now work on. So we need the private IP, and you're going to replace the IP, instance IP with that IP address. Is
Does
there
it need to
another
be a
one?
string?
No, it should be fine.
Okay.
And then we're going to need the names.
The connection name.
Yeah. So if you go back and you actually look at the line above the volume handle, we need to replace each one of those. So it's a little confusing. The file store instance location is the region, I believe.
US Central 1.
Yeah, so we need to put US Central 1 there. And then the file store name.
Is this my DB name or my file store name?
So that's kind of partly it. So you want the name that you set as the instance is the one we want there. So the top name right at the top there, Michael. So that. And then the share name is the one that you put in at the bottom. So it's the one that doesn't have dashes. I think it's just Hub's Helm chart.
Gotcha. So, Alex, just for clarification here, right now we're in SQL.
Oh, wait. Is this the right? I thought we were in file store.
No, this is SQL. Sorry, that's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're doing the wrong thing then.
Okay. Let's go back.
I'm looking at a tiny little screen, so I think I just messed that.
Oh, I see. Sorry. So I'm back in file store. Yeah, I still don't see my instance created on file store. So unfortunately,
Weird.
Yeah, let me create a new one.
Okay,
Sorry
well,
for the delay,
Michael, we can move forward without file store. We can just disable it for now. We have showed how to set it up. It's just going to be you needing to fill in those fields from file store, not from SQL.
Let me see.
It is one of the benefits to the Helm chart. We can enable and disable things in the actual config.
I would like to, if we're able to, Alex, get to file store. So
Yeah,
I am going to just go ahead and begin the creation process for a new one, and hopefully it will go through this time.
Yeah, let's do it.
We can move forward with that. So I'm choosing default VPC.
I did just want to explain that you don't need persistent volumes. It will install without them.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to click create again. Hopefully it works this time. Oh, this time it automatically just kind of directed me there, and it looks to be going much faster.
Oh, weird.
Can I select it yet? Yeah, totally different this time. It just kind of redirected me to the main page and showed me the new instance spinning up. So I don't know what caused that. Maybe if we wait just a moment, it'll come up.
Yeah, it shouldn't take too long.
But yeah, for as a correction for everyone who was watching, we were looking in the wrong spot. We were in SQL, not in file store.
We do need that IP though.
Yes, we do. Let me open it. Here we go. We need the private IP, right?
That you're in the wrong spot. You're in SQL still.
Oh, you need the IP from the file store.
Yeah, because like for SQL, we need that IP. If you just copy that into like open up that VS Code right now,
Hmm.
we just don't want to lose that IP. So copy that IP, scroll
Use it
down to
somewhere else.
the
Yeah.
config. Um,
Oh, it's for
so
our external
yeah,
database host. Yeah.
correct. Yeah,
And is it just the IP address?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Because it's going
okay.
to go over the private network, so we don't need to worry about anything else there.
Gotcha. And we'll get to disabling the Postgres pod, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
We could do that right now. It's two
let's
lines. It's
let's do
super
that now
fast.
since we're a little bit delayed. But so
Yeah.
we've
So
changed the external database host to this IP address. Alex, why have we done that?
so this allows PG Bouncer and Ret to connect to Cloud SQL and use a production database instead of us spinning up our own pod and running a database inside the cluster. This gives us the benefit of like backups and persistent data without having to deal with any of that. Whereas if we're running Hubs vanilla, we have to set up a persistent volume for PG for Postgres and run the database ourselves. So it's just dependent on how you want to manage that data. But I would definitely recommend in production using a managed database.
And it's what anyone who's set up on Hub's Cloud would have used.
Right.
So if we're
Yeah.
going as close to Hub's Cloud as we did, it was an external database like this.
So to turn it off, Michael, we just need to scroll to the bottom of the page, hit enter, type in PGSQL, colon, hit enter, enable, and then colon false. And this will turn off the entire chart that is Postgres.
So this is the pod that, if those of you who are familiar with vanilla Kubernetes or vanilla Community Edition, you have this PGSQL pod that PG Bouncer connects to. This will just get rid of it. You won't have a pod for that, right, when it comes up. Oh, and my file store has finally come up. I can show this to y'all. Once again, I'll be deleting all of these resources. But great, okay. NFS mount point.
Yeah, so we
Alex,
need
do you
that
want to
IP
guide me through?
address.
Do I need I guess,
So that'll be the share name.
gotcha.
So we jump back into
So,
the config.
so I'm just using, is it, oh, it's very close to the same. Anyway, so IP address, file store instance name, I can just get through the top here.
Yep.
Take out the space, and then the name here is this one right here.
Right. Yeah. And that's the share name. So you got to replace it in the top line there and in the last line.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to change the size of the volume, if you look at the top there above, up, Michael, right there, it says 50 gigs. You can change that up to a terabyte with the current provisioning.
Mm-hmm. So this capacity of 1 TB.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
you might have multiple instances connecting to the same file store, right?
Correct. Yeah. So you could have like
A
however
little
many
here, a
great
little
like
there. Yeah.
yeah, you could have 1,024 instances if they each used 1 gig, right? Like it's a volume with a max amount of space.
Mm-hmm. Alex, our file system ID,
We do not need that. If you look, that's actually for Amazon. That's
Oh,
ESF.
yes. Sorry.
And
I
that's
can
why
just...
it's disabled in the Google one.
Yep. So I just won't even bother changing it because of line
I
18 that says
just leave
enabled
it.
false. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And technically, both of these are turned off in the default file. So if you deleted it, it would be off already. And that's why we turn on true in GCP persistent for enabled.
Yeah. Alex, should I go ahead and specify a namespace here?
No, do not.
No. Never mind.
There is a way within the chart to create a namespace. You can add, I think if you scroll down a bit, Michael, there should be a namespace create section. No, keep going, keep going. Yeah, right at the bottom there, right there, NS. So if you enable that, the Helm chart will create the namespace for you. I very much recommend not using that because when you delete the Helm chart, it deletes the namespace. So if you have anything else there, it will delete it if you delete the Helm chart.
Gotcha.
So that's why I recommend creating the namespace separately so that you can install into it.
Okay.
So maybe
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Basically, it's one of those things is if you want to delete your namespace when you delete the chart, you can use this. I've had points where I've deleted charts and not known that the namespace was attached, and all of a sudden the entire infrastructure is gone. So just be very careful with that. That's why, like I said, I recommend manually creating them so they don't get deleted with the chart.
Wonderful. Okay. Should we get installing?
I think we're ready, yeah.
Okay. Just kind of... Okay. Install the chart.
That's all the email stuff.
Yeah, there's stuff. Just kind of scrolling through here.
The next code block, yeah. No.
So create the namespace, right? Let's go ahead and do that. kubectl create namespace, and then HCCE Helm March 13th. Let's work with that for today. So we've got that namespace, and now we need to install it into that namespace. So this is the first kind of official Helm command that we've encountered here. Helm, and as a reminder, as part of the prerequisites, you need to install Helm if you want to be able to use it. It doesn't just come out of the box for other Kubernetes stuff. And what are we saying here with Moz?
So that's the name of the chart when it's installed. So you can call this anything. This could be Helm hubs, yeah, anything you would like the chart to be displayed as. That is what the name is there. So now, Michael, with the -f, this is pointing to the configuration file. So we want to point
our values.gcp.
Right. Yeah. I think it's a dot, not a dash.
Oh, that would be correct. Okay.
There we go.
And then
now you gotta make sure that you add your namespace, and then you need to make sure the period's at the end.
Namespace equals HCCE, the one that we just created.
Yep.
And then the dot at the end. What's the dot at the end?
So the dot at the end tells Helm this is where the Helm chart lives. Install from here. So if you have it at a different path, you can put a path here. It doesn't have to be a dot. It's any location. This is just saying use our current directory as the Helm chart location. So if you CD'd back one directory, it would just be ./Mozilla Hubs CE chart. Gotcha. And then it would install from there.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and run. Big moment. Not found. Helm is not found. What? Oh, I have not installed Helm on this computer. I've installed it on my other computer. So we are going to have to go back and do a quick prerequisite. Do we have...
Yeah, it's right there. You should be able to brew install it too.
Yeah, let's go through brew. There's chocolatey. Oh, brew install Helm. Perfect. Quick and easy. I better have brew on this computer. I'm pretty confident that I do, but
At least it's not Windows updates.
I know it. It's a fun. Oh, well, we don't have time for a story because it's already installed. Okay. I'm going to try running the command again now that I have Helm installed, and something is happening this time instead of the error we just encountered. What has happened? Oh, cert manager.
Oh yeah, we forgot
We-
Cert Manager.
Yeah, we got to do cert manager first. False alarm, everybody.
It's super easy, super fast. It's just
Yeah,
a couple commands.
So if you had followed the guide, which we're kind of like skipping around here, you would have seen cert manager to the rescue. So let's do kubectl create namespace security, right?
Yeah.
Security.
This namespace could be anything. I just called it security because we're installing something that creates SSL certificates. So you can call it Cert Manager. You can call it whatever you want.
And I just copy and paste this, right?
Yeah.
So
So what these commands are doing.
Go ahead.
Do you want me to explain?
Yes,
so
please.
What we did is we just added a repo to Helm. We updated the repo, and now we're installing Cert Manager from that repo we just added.
And Cert Manager is an alternative to certbot, which it's an alternative to certbot. And those of you who are familiar with vanilla community edition, the Hubs team has made certbot bot, which is an abstraction over certbot as the way of managing certificates. But here we're using Cert Manager instead.
So Cert Manager does technically use certbot in the background, but it deals with updating the certificates, so you will never have to update them again. You install it once, and it will every 90 days update your Let's Encrypt certificates for you.
So I'm going to create a new file called cluster issuer.yaml. I'm going to copy and paste the code from in here. And then I just need my email address to register the certificates.
Yep.
I think that's all, and then I just need to apply this YAML file, right?
Correct.
F cluster issuer.yaml within the namespace security, right?
It doesn't. No, it's a cluster. It can be in the default namespace.
Okay.
It's meant to be across the entire cluster.
Okay, so I'm going to run it without specifying a namespace. There we go. We have it issued now. Okay. How can we take a peek to make sure that's good before trying to reinstall our Helm chart?
So if you want to go kube control get cluster issuers, it's not a dash yet, just like that. And now you can see we have our issuer. It's ready to go. If you describe that issuer, you will see the information that Kubernetes has to actually grab a certificate. So this is saying that we're using Let's Encrypt and just showing all of the template, like all the YAML that Kubernetes has access to.
Cool. Thank you for letting us take a peek.
No worries.
So I'm gonna go back and actually, where do we go?
You can just run that whole thing again. It won't be mad about it.
This one, right? That I have.
No, we need to install Cert Manager still. Yeah, run that. We'll find out in 10 seconds.
Didn't we just install it?
Yeah, we did. I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good. Yeah. Okay. So maybe we can look at the feedback here to kind of, since this is our first time actually getting it. What,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
generation, certainly.
scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. You're back in the cluster issuer.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
Wrong place. Revision. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So Helm has now installed the chart with our config. If you go down to the bottom there, what we're going to do is we're going to go Helm ls and then the namespace, and you will see the chart we just installed. You got to do -n. So there you go. So as you can see, our chart has been deployed. And now if we check the Kubernetes side, you should see all the pods have been deployed. You can also look at the deployments and see those as well. You're going to need the namespace. So there we go. So these
Cool.
are all our pods that are running. As you can see, those Acme HTTP solvers are for our certificates. So Michael, if you go and type in kube control get certificates and the namespace, this is going to show us all our certificates, and they are currently not ready because we do not have a domain pointed at this instance.
So this is for the
what,
challenge, right? We need,
right.
they need
We
something
need
to verify that it's working.
Right. So what we need to do, Michael, is if you go, kube control get services, and it's going to be HA proxy -LB.
That's HA proxy -LB and then namespace,
the namespace,
right?
yes.
March 13.
So as you can see, we have an internal IP and we have an external IP. The external IP is what Michael is going to copy into his Route 53 DNS records.
Are folks still with us? It's been so long since I've checked what's happening in hubs.
We got lots of people looking.
Good here.
Cool.
Will there be a video recording of this?
I'm
Yes.
making one as we speak, and I'll upload it to YouTube.
And it'll include like the screenshot or the actual screen capture.
Yeah, so I'm filming my whole display. So basically everything you're seeing on this screen, it's copying from mine, and
Cool.
it is taking a very crisp, legible view.
Cool.
It's not-
Cool.
Okay. I don't know how long it'll take these to propagate, but maybe we can go ahead and just kind of look at our certificates.
It'll be 5
again.
minutes because I think you
Oh.
have it. So we have one. One has
One
already
has come
been.
back. Honestly, Alex, mine have always been like a minute, so maybe they'll.
Well,
happen
you
quite
you
quick.
have it set to 5 minutes time to live. So, in your DNS records,
Oh, we do.
yeah, the
What is
300 is. If you go in there and you look at one of those records, they say 300 time to live.
Oh,
That's 5 minutes.
I
Change it-
honestly had
change it
no
to
idea
60
what that
seconds.
corresponded to, but very cool.
Yeah. So that tells the DNS servers across the internet, hey, every 5 minutes, check my IP, or check my record and make sure it's right.
What is the drawback of lowering it just to 1 minute?
It'll allow, if someone gets into your DNS records, it lets them change your DNS within 1 minute. So like mail services and stuff, you would really want to have a longer time to live, so those records can't be changed randomly on you.
I see. Gotcha.
But for a demo, 1 minute is perfect because we want those records to reflect across the internet within a minute.
Then we got one. So one of our pods is gone. Are these burstable pods, Alex?
No, they're set and forget. Like they only sit there and wait for a query from Let's Encrypt, and then they die. And they're good and gone. They get terminated.
And then I'm seeing an issue with Reticulum that we will have to troubleshoot.
Yeah. That could be possibly because the SSL certificates aren't working yet.
Yeah, very well
But
could be. Should we take a peek or should we wait?
yeah, let's do
Not
it.
get ahead of
Let's do it.
ourselves. So kubectl
Might as
get
well log it out.
logs.
It's just logs. No get. Okay, so PG Bouncer is mad at us. I know why. We forgot to add the Kubernetes cluster to the private IP range.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to go into the console. You're probably not gonna want to show this, Michael.
I will not, but I just wanted to find where that was specified in here again. Just for folks to.
So I don't know if it's in here.
Might be in your tutorial video. I remember doing
Yeah.
it once when I was setting up my personal instance, but
Yeah, we talked about it on Discord. I know that much.
anyway, I can describe what's happening and maybe share in just a moment. So, I go to. Do I go to GKE?
Yes.
So,
You select your cluster.
and then like networking in there, right? Maybe not. So I'm
Correct. Yeah,
in
you go to
GKE.
networking.
I'm gonna select. I think I called this one HCCE Helm March 13th. I've selected it, and then I go to. What do I go within there? Maybe I don't select the actual instance and I just click networking. Or
let
I
me
have
let me pull up
gateways.
an
I have
actual.
gateways, services, and ingress.
Sorry, I'm just logging into a cluster that I can actually look at. GKE Kubernetes engine. Okay, so you select the cluster,
Mhm.
and then you has this changed on me? Is it in the node group, Michael?
Like in the
I
node
can't remember
pool,
where I think so.
what are you looking
Wait,
for?
the private IP, because we need to add that. I'm just trying to, okay. I know when you create the cluster through the dash, like the console, it asks you if you want a private IP on creation. What network do you have selected for your GK cluster on the main page of the cluster?
Default.
Okay, so that should work.
Yeah, and it's telling me it definitely is immutable. I've selected default to take a. So I'm looking at now. I'm at VPC network. Um, Kind of following default.
Yeah, no, it should default. Oh, the joys of networking.
Would it be in internal ranges on VPC network?
Uh, yeah, it might be. I'm just trying to internal ranges. No, I don't have an internal range. I have a ton of IP addresses. Like I have internal IP addresses and external IP addresses when I click on that
Yeah.
tab.
So I'm going to share my screen briefly, but when I go to internal range, I can see, ignore the bottom two. That's a cluster I was setting up earlier today, but I do have pods and services in here.
And they are private IPs. So can we look at we go back to Rhett's logs and see, or go actually look at PG Bouncer's logs because it's not connecting correctly. So it could be that it has the wrong password.
Yeah, password authentication failed for user Postgres.
We didn't create that DB, did we?
Are we talking about the manual creation we have to do?
Well, we could do it with the Google Cloud commands I sent you.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
We did not do that, so that would make
Right.
sense that
So
we don't have
yeah.
a retdb in there to even log into.
Right.
Okay. So maybe while I'm pulling these up, can you explain what we need to do by manually creating this?
Yeah, so what we need to do is we need to go into Postgres and create a table for Rhett to do the migration and bring up the needed database and tables for us to connect to. So the first command you're going to want to run, Michael, is the create user, and we're going to use the SQL instance that we created earlier.
Hmm.
So
So,
that's the instance name.
well, first we have user, right? What should we call
So
the
that should be
user?
Postgres.
Yes. And then instance, I need to grab that. I can probably grab it just from my values.gcp, right?
It's not. It's going to be the cloud, like the SQL version, not the file store.
Also, Alex, I'm noticing right here, it looks like in my values, there's a space here, which is probably bad.
Yeah, it's probably not going to like that. So we'll
So
update the chart.
we might have two
Just,
errors to
just
correct here, but I've
yeah,
deleted that and saved it. But we'll move forward with the database because we know we have to do that too.
Michael, it
So,
just lets us show people how to upgrade, so it's perfect.
oh, okay. So yeah. So going
Let's
back,
create the user first because we need to get that up and running before we roll the system back over.
so I'm going back to SQL. Let's see, March 13th. What name do I need here? Just in the instance, right? So the
Yeah,
instance.
it's the name of your uh, Cloud SQL instance.
Okay.
So it should be that. And then it'll be dash dash password. And let's put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Hmm.
Now hit enter.
Please work. It looks like it
Okay.
worked.
We now have a user. Now we need to run the gcloud SQL database, and we need to create a database.
And this should be retdb, right?
Yes. And then it's the same instance that we just created the user on.
Hmm. Okay, so this looks good. So I'm going to create the database, and don't we need to grant permissions on that database for the user?
No, we should be good to go.
Oh, okay. It automatically
Yeah.
does it.
Yeah, it
Okay,
has it's built in. It has the Postgres authenticator already set
hmm,
up, so
gotcha.
you don't have to worry
And
about that.
And what we did, it didn't update our configuration, but maybe this can point people to right here where we've actually specified that same information, basically telling, correct me if I'm wrong here, Reticulum needs to connect to PG Bouncer with these credentials to connect to the external database, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And the problem was the external database didn't have RetDB or this user associated with it. So we had to create that on Google Cloud to actually be able to access it. Right. Should we upgrade?
Okay, so yeah, let's upgrade the chart just to make sure we have the right config up there. So Helm makes this really easy. It's just a Helm upgrade, the name of the chart.
Is it -F or?
We'll put the name of the chart there first. So it'll be
Oh gosh, I forgot what it was. Oh dear, why have I done this?
just do an LS. Just do an LS. It's Helm LS and then namespace. And it'll give you the there you go.
Okay, Helm March 13th. Helm upgrade my chart. And then
-F.
values.gcp.yaml.
And then a period, and you're good to go.
No
I
namespace.
guess you need the namespace. Namespace, you do need the namespace, yes.
HCCE, gosh, what was it?
Right above you, Helm March.
Okay, upgrading. An error.
Did not like that. Oh, okay. I did notice this a couple days ago. I need to update the Helm chart to make sure that it's using the correct name for Google. The persistent volumes do work like right out of the box on Amazon. I do have an update that I just forgot to push, so I will fix that. Let me. Let's do. I am going to send you, Michael, the updated version of this.
Okay.
Just need to make sure. And anyone watching this on YouTube, this will be updated when you watch this. I'll push the update.
I'm going to take a quick sip of water, so I'm going to mute myself so you don't have to listen to that.
Am I still in the room?
I can still hear you.
Weird. My canvas has gone just blank.
Do you want
I
to
can't see the
refresh
room.
and come back?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
I see you. But maybe his username got reset. Anyway,
Very weird.
everything's
Okay. Michael, I
Yes.
have some updated files for you. So, I'm sending you these on.
Okay.
So if you just overwrite the should be the persistent volume claim in ret, and then this is the persistent volume.
So I went
So we
to charts, reticulum, and then persistent value claim.yaml. I'm going to
Yep.
select all and copy and paste what Alex has given me. Do you see the edit in here, Alex?
Yeah, it was missing the GCP part of it, so that's why.
Gotcha. Okay. How about what you also just sent me? Is that a different file?
Yeah, that's the persistent volume for ret.
Okay. So now I'm going from persistent volume claim to persistent volume, copying all and then pasting over it.
Looks good. So save that, and now let's run the upgrade again. Before you hit enter, though, add a dash debug and a dash dry run.
Is there a hyphen between dry and run?
Yes. Yeah. So what this is going to do is it's actually going to spit out the YAML that we're trying to apply to Kubernetes, if it works, obviously. Use the error there.
It looks like just a formatting issue with
Oh, yeah.
the YAML that I've pasted in.
Oh, it looks like you have something at the top there. I don't think you fully copied out or maybe am I just seeing that wrong? Oh,
I bet you it's in the other file since it wasn't. Could it be
oh no, it's 100% that line.
the rewrite
It
menu?
should.
Yeah.
It should be over. It should be tabbed under the access mode once. I think that might be it.
Oh, Discord formatted it as a bullet point, right?
Yeah, that needs to be a dash. And why is my computer doing this?
I think I got it. Read write menu, and then but I need to tab everything. So Alex, does this look better?
I'm stuck back at this blank screen. I don't know. Something's going on with weak maps. I'm getting an error in the console. It's saying invalid value used as a weak map key coming from 3JS. I am not sure what's going on. I'm gonna have to reload.
Okay.
Seems to be when I like switch tabs, it's crashing. Weird. Yeah, it looks right. Looks like what I got.
Okay. Gonna try and upgrade again. What is happening?
Line 5. Why is it not? Oh, it doesn't like your quotes. Can you copy? It's because the Discord quotes are now the not actual quotes. If you highlight those, you're gonna have to go through the whole thing. And
Yeah, I've gotcha. So. Oh. Replace that with that.
That's just Discord being.
Oh.
Oh, it's because you'll have the other side of it.
No.
Yeah.
Lame.
I hate how
Lame.
I hate how quotes do this. It's so ridiculous.
Totally lame.
Okay, so just so you know, don't use Discord to send code back and forth.
Oh, what? Okay, so it's still in persistent volume claim.
Red. Oh, storage. It's because I changed that line. So if you go delete see the storage line there at the bottom, just change that from ret like dot ret. Just delete the dot ret. It's just storage.
Like that?
Yeah. If you look at the YAML file, the original YAML file, like our GCP YAML, and then you look at if you scroll up, it's right in the global, the top part there. See how it says storage 50 gigs? In my updated copy, I have it split out so you can set ret or PG to have their own sizes.
So I
Yeah,
should
just
get rid
delete
of
that line too.
this
Yeah.
mention, right?
Right. Yeah. This will not be a thing if you're watching this on YouTube. I'll make sure that this is updated and you can just apply it. So there you go.
Okay.
We just
Looks promising.
we just upgraded. So this is all of the YAML that Helm has created, and there's a lot of it. You like my terminals tend to not be able to see all of it, mainly just because there's so many files that were created. But as you can see, like there's
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff here. So Michael, we should do a rollover. Should just quickly check the pods on the cluster and see what's happening.
Command for that again. kubectl rollover.
Well, first just do get pods and just look and see what we've got. Okay, so Red is
A
now up
good
and running.
good reticulum.
Yeah. So I would still roll this over just so that we guarantee have the latest configs that we just updated. So it's going to be kube control, roll out, restart, deployments, and then -n the namespace. So this command is going to tell Kubernetes go and restart all of the deployments. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a new pod, and then it'll take away the old one when the new pod comes up. So it allows you to have very minimal downtime. So if you just hit up twice on your keyboard there, and then show us the pods again, you'll see that we're creating new pods and terminating pods.
And we got on this tangent quite a bit ago, but I will also just note we don't see any more of the cert manager pods, and if we do kubectl get certificates, we should see, namespace. We should see true for all of them. So that happened in the background while we were debugging this external database issue. But closing the loop.
You can describe each one of these too, Michael. If you're ever having issues with Cert Manager, just describe the certificate, and then you can continue down the chain of the request and the orders, and you'll see the errors in the describes.
Cool.
And Cert Manager does have amazing documentation on debugging, so just know that. If you check those pods again, Michael, we should be back to stable with the current copy. Yeah, looks good.
Except for this old, yeah.
That's just going to take a second to come back up.
Should we try going there?
Yeah, might as well.
Ooh, why?
Can you check the certificate? I think we're using the default one still.
That is a good point. So what would I check there? Get certificates in the default namespace?
In your Chrome browser, actually, you can check the certificate. So if you just click on, or even Firefox, if you click on the little security thing where it says not secure at the top, or video certificate right there, you just want to look at the certificate, and you'll see that this is a self-signed cert. If you keep scrolling, looks different than what it does in Chrome, but this is definitely wait.
The default HA proxy cert, right?
I'm gonna look at it on my computer.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is a self-signed cert. This
Okay.
has no common name. It's just Dev Morant. So this is coming from when we created the default cert.
So
So it's actually in the deployments.
Oh dang! I thought I was gonna be able to
Yeah,
figure
you
it
were
out on my
so
own.
close. No,
Dang.
it's in HA proxy,
Okay.
templates, deployments, and then scroll down a little bit, and there you go, right there, third one down.
So same process of upgrade again.
Make sure you get rid of the dry run from the upgrade command, so that it actually deploys.
I'll get rid of
Yep.
debug as well.
Yeah.
So I'm upgrading. I've saved my getting rid of the default HA proxy certificate. Upgrading. It's taking a while. Looks. Oh no.
Why is it doing? Oh, I think it's because you're trying to change the size. Oh, it doesn't make no sense. Is a persistent line source forbidden?
Is immutable after creation. Okay. Where is persistent volume source?
So that would be in red. It's in the persistent volume, I'm guessing. Storage. I think it's because. Scroll down a little bit, Michael. Because it's storage class. Oh, I see what happened. I think it's because we changed the name of the storage class. So instead of it saying file store storage class, we need to change that to file store dash PV. If you're installing this
Whatever
like
we had
from
here, right?
scratch, yeah.
Reticulum.
If you're installing it from the GitHub page, like GitHub, this won't be a thing because you won't have changed the name after installing it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you save this file, Michael, and
Should I
then
check the PVC as well? Oh, it
it
looks fine.
shouldn't.
Looks
Oh
fine.
yeah, no, you do need to change that too. You need to change the storage class there. Just yeah, perfect. They got to line up.
We're so close.
Immutable after creation. Okay, you know what? Let's just delete the chart and reinstall it.
All right, walk me through it.
Okay, so it's Helm delete, the name of the chart, and then the dash n, the namespace. And what this is going to do is it's going to go in, it's going to delete everything we just created. But it's super nice because we just have to run the install again and everything will spin back up exactly how it was.
Do we also need
Yeah.
to delete the persistent volume claims?
No, because what's happening right now is we're just conflicting with what it's trying to upgrade and what it's trying to install. So you should be able to just reinstall. If you just run the install command, you should be good to go.
It's same command, right? Just install instead of upgrade.
Yeah.
We've gone through the full gambit. We even have yeah.
So we're back up and running now. So if you do if you check your pods, they should all be coming up now.
Cool. Please work, Reticulum.
We may have to update the
External IP
IP
and
address.
certificates.
Yeah,
It might have given it a new external IP.
right. I have noticed though that
IH.
Google's pretty good about that, and they do give you the same one back most of the time.
This one looks a little different. Let's see now.
Luckily, we switched it to a minute, so it should happen quickly.
Yeah, it changed it on us. Do we need to change the certificates?
No, they'll automatically update.
Oh, cool.
And they are cached, so they should just be there.
Let's see as we're doing it. Cool. So those are still there, and they are brand new, like the rest of the pods.
Yeah, Cert Manager will cache them internally, so when you rerun that command, you shouldn't need to worry about having the HTTP.
We're in.
request again.
Although it's
Why is it?
it's refreshing
why is it
like
leaving?
crazy. Yeah, that was
there you go.
interesting.
I think it
Oh
was
no,
just
I'll
because you
tell
had an
you.
extra.
Yeah, it's because I always test and set up clusters with the same domain, so my browser has some local
You
storage
gotta
for
clear the
that
cache.
domain already. Yeah, let me. Okay. Cool. Okay. Let's do what I always love to and check out reticulum logs while this is happening. ctl get logs. No, why?
Your email is not verified.
This is the old. Huh, I thought. Oh no, I know what had happened. Let's just quickly do a identity.
You probably have to update the text record for your domain.
Mm-hmm.
Like it got deleted at some point.
Do you remember? Do you know how to do that? Sorry.
Scroll down.
DKIM is what. Here we go. Publish DNS, right?
Yeah. Yep. Click that button.
Great.
Yeah,
Okay,
there
I
you
see
go.
them in there. Sorry, everyone. This was a SES issue. When you first kind of greenlight your domain in, and you have to do this, I think, regardless of whether or not you're in the sandbox. But if you go to when you set it up, you'll have to greenlight your domain. Why is it not verified still?
It'll just take a couple minutes for Amazon to actually go out and check the record.
Oh,
There you go.
pending. Hopefully, it doesn't take too long. And part of the reason I think these records got deleted is because I am, I think, still in the sandbox. Let's see if I. Yeah, you're in sandbox.
Then you can just add another domain, or well, your email's verified, so it should be sending from there. I don't know why it would. Oh no, it's because the no
It's
reply
no
is
no reply.
verified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we see that. Yeah, here the error is this one.
So if you want to make this really quick, you could just add that email in as a identity.
Separate identity, yeah.
Yeah.
So email address. Reply.
It's gonna need a verification too.
What's that?
I think it just takes a second for it to verify. I don't think you have to do anything. Yeah. Oh, your domain's
Oh,
verified now
well,
anyways, so
never mind.
doesn't matter.
I hope that doesn't mess things up, but let's check it again.
No, it should be fine.
Oh yeah, it
There you
looks no errors, so I should get that email in just a moment. Yep. Got my magic link. And I am in. I'm in admin. I'm able to navigate around between different tabs. Why don't we all, with the few remaining minutes we have left, try and jump in and check out dialogue. Alex, are there any other setup steps for dialogue?
Yeah, we forgot to open up the firewall.
I think it should already be open.
Right, because you've already used this account, so you probably already
Yeah.
have those records there. So just so everyone knows, you need to run a firewall command to allow dialogue and coturn through GCP.
Jula, to answer your question from 29 seconds ago, Dev Moran, I have that name hosted, and both it's registered with Route 53, and I have a hosted zone on Route 53. So it is in both right there. But let's try and join in.
Woo!
Hey everyone! Oh yes, it's working.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Who is that? Falcated? Hey, Imaginer.
Hello.
Hello!
Oh, it worked.
Gosh, it is the best celebration when we all get in here at the end and we're able to talk with each other.
Yeah.
It's like, it's such a good feeling to get a full instance set up in just a couple of hours.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna hop back over to the main instance now that we've tested.
Sounds good.
All right, everyone. This is Michael coming to you from. Oh, it looks like Alex had to reconnect. Any major pressing questions with the 4 minutes we have left? Of course, it took quite a while to set up today's because doing everything we did today is quite ambitious. It's setting up a fully production-ready server in 2 hours, which is faster than Hub's Cloud, and it encompasses more than just setting up the quick start instance. So I feel personally very impressed that we were able to get it all up and running in just 2 hours.
So
Yeah.
is that instance you set up, aside from no tenor and Sketchfab API keys, functionally the same as what we're in now on hubs.mozilla.com?
I would say, and it seems like Alex is having some trouble. I just saw him disappear.
No, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Alex, maybe I'll let you explain kind of what might be missing from the Helm chart.
Yeah,
feature-wise.
so well, feature-wise, like we're at parity with Hub's Community Edition. So we're probably missing a few features that the Mozilla version has. I'm not 100% sure what the difference is between these stacks. But what we just joined, the devmorand.com website, is a production-ready version of Hub's Community Edition.
Yeah. It is more featureful than an out-of-the-box Community Edition instance. Kind of if you follow the guidelines, here, let's look on here. If we follow these guidelines to deploy, at the very end, we have this big list of considerations for production environment. I think things that might still be missing, we didn't talk about encryption on like making those passwords like the Phoenix key super secure, but stateful services and scalability, definitely that's in here. We didn't talk about it today, but kind of scaling your instance up and down is supported in Alex's Helm chart. we didn't talk about, deploying a custom client, but Alex, if I'm aware, it's essentially the same thing. You just create your own Docker registry for your code
Yep.
base and then reference it. So it's the same process that we've gone through on others. I'd say the
And
big thing that we've added versus other times that we've met in these setup sessions is that external database and persistent volume claims.
yeah, which gets us to a fully production ready version of Hub's Cloud Community or Hub's Community Edition.
Okay, thank you.
So, Jula, to answer your question, the prerequisite installs, I don't think Alex has showed
I'm on a Mac.
Yeah, I'm on a Mac as well, and I think I'm thinking back to Alex's AWS tutorial. So maybe that would be a good one to kind of go over one week, is more just kind of like the odds and ends and the missing side of things. Like I feel like even just like in a full session on explanatory, like what is each pod, could be worthwhile.
Yeah.
Maybe even what I'm planning to add to my document is how can you publish your own version of each pod so that you can be completely independent of Mozilla. That might be a good place where we talk about how everything works together, how everything is orchestrated. Yeah. I think next week, what I'm thinking of doing is going over just persistent volume claims on our on the instance that we the quick start instance, so not a Helm environment. With this week we went kind of way above and beyond if we were kind of using cumulatively over these weeks to set up an instance. Today we've gone like all the way over to like fully ready, but I think we'll go back and probably next week talk more just about persistent volume claims. I'm following Rithik's instructions for just adding that configuration YAML to an existing instance. So Rithik, maybe you'll hop in next week and we can chat about it. I know it's very late in the evening for you right now, but we'd love to have you there.
That's gonna, like, the biggest problem you're gonna have with a local install is gonna be the firewall that your router has. You may or may not be allowed to open the ports needed to allow someone to connect to your computer. Don't get me wrong, it's something that I really want to get set up and working. The first version of Hub's Community Edition I installed was the vanilla one, and I did actually get it running on my home server, but I didn't have audio externally. So that was one of my biggest things, and that's why I ended up moving towards Amazon and Google.
Awesome. Alex, I did want to plug your work one more time. You and Corey's work on virtual link hosting, and Alex has done a fantastic job of sharing knowledge about Community Edition. However, if people don't want to deal with setting up your own server, I would suggest considering Alex's service as one of those that are out there. And I've been telling everyone who's offering hosting services to post in the job board on the Discord, and I know Alex has done so. So if people want to reach out to him, Alex, is it okay if I point them to that job board posting?
100%. 100%. You can also DM myself or Corey on Discord. We're both there, so just let us
Thanks,
know.
Michael. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah,
Well, I
thank you,
appreciate
Michael.
y'all for even Alex passed your documentation award for all of the knowledge you've shared with the community, and for continuing to make more documents like this one, which we'll be posting on YouTube.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, if anyone has any questions or feedback for the Helm chart, just drop me a message on Discord. We can chat.
Okay, I'm going to cease the